Morning. Welcome to session 2 of chapter 1 of company law. In this session, we are going to discuss one important concept of company law, that is lifting the corporate veil. Veil means musuku or parade in Kannada. See, the year 1991 is the era to be written in golden words, because it's a very big boon to corporate sector. Why? Because the year in which we have welcomed LPG policy, and which is a very big boon to big business giants. As a result of this LPG policy, it is possible for us to step into foreign countries with the fruitful conditions, with the fruitful terms, and it is possible for us to conduct business activities very easily with foreign entities, and any type of contracts we can enter into with foreign countries business units. So now the whole world is like a village, and in our tip, the whole world is in our single tip, and in a single click we can rule the whole world too. Technology is growing like anything. Technology is advancing like anything. Economy is growing like anything. In totality, to say economy is growing like anything. Here, so many foreign companies are coming over to India, and Indian companies are establishing branches in foreign countries. Therefore, crossing the border became very easy. So, over a period of time, the restrictions are also liberalized with regard to corporate performance or corporate tradings, business activities. See, why I am explaining this? Because from one hand, LPG policy has given lots and lots and lot of countless benefits. From another side, demerits are also there. It has come with lot of demerits, and one among the demerits paved the way for this lifting the corporate veil. Of course, indirectly I am connecting. Direct connection is not there. Indirectly, due to which what happened, big business companies, big business giants started to fraud, to cheat, to misconduct, and the financial statements are alteration in financial statements according to their wish, cheating of shareholders. These things, these unlawful activities had happened. Therefore, here court had to come in between shareholders and the corporate entities. So, I am supplementing this from law point of view. Law also says that after the establishment of a corporate unit, means a company, it is different from its members, means it gets a separate personality. One of the features of a company we have studied in the last session. That feature explains the privilege of one company, that after incorporation, company will be treated separate from its shareholders. Means two personalities arise there. One is shareholders' personality, another one is corporate personality. Shareholders' personality is different, and rights and duties rested in the hands of shareholders, or as shareholders' personality is different, rights and duties of corporate personality is different. Shareholders have to enter into contract with the corporate personalities in different dimensions, in different directions, and for different purposes too. Here, even if the members have established a company collectively, they are never permitted to treat it as same after its establishment. Means after the establishment of the company cannot be treated as same as the rights and duties of shareholders. Rights and duties of shareholders cannot be mixed with the rights and duties of a corporation. So here these are the two personalities, corporate personality and shareholders personality. It won't clash at all because shareholders personality is mutually exclusive to corporate personality. Being a shareholder, what he has to do is shareholder personality. Whereas being a corporate, see, paying tax, company is paying tax, paying income tax, shareholder is paying income tax, whereas company is paying corporate tax. Likewise, for some activities, even if the members are responsible for those acts, company in its own personality, company in its own name, company in its own designation, company in its own privilege, it has to, in its own designation, it has to enter into contracts. So here the personality is different, and shareholders appoint a third party to govern the issues of the company, to manage a company, to control a company. Say for example, managing director. All the members of the company or shareholders of the company cannot visit, won't visit, never visit often to the company. During rare circumstances only they will visit and demand for anything, demand for books of accounts or anything. Here, on behalf of shareholders, the managing director or top level management is performing business operations. While conducting business, there is a possibility of changing the financial status of a company to his wish, managing director's wish, even if he is a third party, and making fraudulent acts, preparing misstatements, cheating shareholders are quite common nowadays. In this case, to protect the interest of shareholders, to protect the interest of general public, the court comes in between shareholders and corporate entities by cancelling the special personality of a company. And this is what lifting the corporate veil. Lifting the corporate veil means cancelling the separate privilege or separate personality of a company, and rights and duties of a company are treated same as the rights and duties of shareholders, or rights and duties of a company is the rights and duties of shareholders. Okay, after lifting up the corporate veil, or at the time of lifting up of corporate veil, rights and duties of a company is treated equal to, or not only equal, rights and duties of the company will be the rights and duties of shareholders. So here company loses its privilege of owning a separate entity. This is what lifting up of a corporate veil. In a sense, here earlier company was enjoying with lots and lots of benefits, and insider trading was also there. Insider trading in the sense, or insider business, insider fraudulent acts were there, so as to bring those frauds to front, or brings those so as to trace those frauds. Judiciary or the court lifts or cancels its special privilege. So now the rights and duties of a company will be the rights and duties of shareholders. So as to trace the frauds, this is done. This is what lifting the corporate veil. ಕಾನೂನಿನ ಪರದೆಯನ್ನು ಸರಿಸುವುದು ಅಂತಂದರೆ, ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ರ್ಯಾರ್ ಸರ್ಕಮ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾನ್ಸ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಟಾಪ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟಿನವರು ಫ್ರಾಡನ್ನು ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟನ್ನು ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರ ಮೂಲಕ ಶೇರ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡರ್ಗಳನ್ನು ವಂಚಿಸುವಂತಹ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಜನರನ್ನು ವಂಚಿಸುವಂತಹ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಈ ಥರ ವಂಚನೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಬಂದ ಹಾಗೆ ದೊಡ್ಡ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಜೈಂಟ್ಸ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಇದು ಕಾಮನ್, ದೊಡ್ಡ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಬಿಗ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಹೌಸ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಇದು ಕ್ವೈಟ್ ಕಾಮನ್. ಸೊ ಇಂಥ ಕೇಸ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವಾಗ ಕಂಪನಿಯ ಒಂದು ಫೀಚರ್ ಹೇಳ್ತದೋ, ಕಂಪನಿಯ ಎಸ್ಟಾಬ್ಲಿಷ್ ಆದಮೇಲೆ ಕಂಪನಿ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಮೆಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿರ್ತದೋ, ಈಗ ಕಂಪನಿಯ ರೈಟ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತು ಡ್ಯೂಟೀಸನ್ನು ಶೇರ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡರ್ನ ರೈಟ್ ಮತ್ತು ಡ್ಯೂಟಿಯಾಗಿ ಮಾಡುವಂಥದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ಲಿಫ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ದ ಕಾರ್ಪೊರೇಟ್ ವೇಲ್ ಹೇಳಿ ಕರಿತೇವೆ. ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಇನ್ನೂ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದರೆ, ಕಂಪನಿಗೆ ಸಪರೇಟ್ ಆದಂತಹ ಒಂದು ವಾಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಪರ್ಸ್ನಾಲಿಟಿ, ಕಂಪನಿಗೆ ಸಪರೇಟ್ ಆದಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಪರ್ಸ್ನಾಲಿಟಿ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಕಂಪನಿಗೆ ಸಪರೇಟ್ ಆದಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಐಡೆಂಟಿಟಿ ಇಲ್ಲದೇ ಇರುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಅಂದರೆ ಶೇರ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡರ್ಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಎಟ್ ಎನಿ ಟೈಮ್ ಕಮ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ದ ಕಂಪನಿ. ಸೊ ಇದರಿಂದಾಗಿ ಫ್ರಾಡನ್ನು ಏನೇ ಮಿಸ್ಕಂಡಕ್ಟ್ ಇದ್ರೂ ಅಥವಾ ಏನೇ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರೂ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಫೈನಾನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಇನ್ಸೈಡರ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರೂ ಇಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ಟ್ರೇಸ್ಡ್ ವೆರಿ ಈಸಿಲಿ. ಸೊ ಆ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ಪ್ರಿವಿಲೇಜ್ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಕಂಪನಿಯದ್ದು, ಆ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ಪ್ರಿವಿಲೇಜನ್ನು ಕಾರ್ಪೊರೇಟ್ ಕಂಪನಿಯಾಗಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದಂತಹ ಕೆಲವು ಕೆಲಸಗಳಿದೆ, ಅದೆಲ್ಲವನ್ನು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ಸಲ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಷ್ಟನ್ನು ಶೇರ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡರ್ಗಳ ರೈಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಮಾಡುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಶೇರ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡರ್ ಗಿವಿಂಗ್ ದ ರೈಟ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಡ್ಯೂಟೀಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಅ ಕಂಪನಿ ಟು ಶೇರ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡರ್ಸ್ is called lifting the corporate veil. I hope it is clear for you, and it may be noted that lifting the corporate veil of a company is the discretionary power of the court. Means it is left to the discretion of the court whether to lift the corporate veil or not. And corporate veil of a company may be lifted by the court under two circumstances. Okay, so first circumstance is judicial discretion. Okay, under judicial discretion corporate veil can be lifted. See, let's study what are the different judicial discretionary points, or what are the situations necessitating the judiciary system to lift the corporate veil. First one, for determining the character of the company. See, as I said earlier, a company may be in the hands of a person who is the resident of enemy country or who has affairs with the enemy country. Here, the person who is in the management position means what? Person who is managing the company, or person who has all the controls over the affairs of the company, person who is in charge of the whole company, if has a relationship with enemy country or the resident of enemy country, or having illegal business with the enemy country, or having any sort of relationship with the enemy country, the court may disregard the corporate personality of the company. The court may cancel the corporate personality of the company. In the sense here, if the person who is responsible to manage the whole company, if indulges in the indulges with these kind of activities like maintaining relationship. See, indulging means ಕಂಪನಿಯ ಟಾಪ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟಿನವನೇ ಅಂಥ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ತೊಡಗಿಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದರೆ, ಓಕೆ, ಇಂಡಲ್ಜನ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ತೊಡಗಿಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದರೆ. ಸಿ, ಇಫ್ ದ ಟಾಪ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಥಾರಿಟಿ ಇಟ್ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್ ಇಂಡಲ್ಜಸ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಅಫೇರ್ಸ್ like maintaining good relationship with the enemy country, or conducting business with the enemy country, or any sort of relationship if he maintains, there is a possibility of concealing some facts, there is a possibility of cheating the shareholders. Okay, the person if maintains a good relationship with the enemy country definitely cannot manage the country for the purpose of shareholders of this country, and there is a possibility of doing fraud, and the court comes to check why he is doing those activities, and the court comes in between the company and shareholders. Okay, and there is a possibility that the court may cancel the separate personality of a company and examine the character of a person who is in real control to determine whether it is an enemy company or favoring company. Of course, you may think why it is so. What happens? Say for example, if you maintain contracts with enemy country, what happens? And there is no particular rule that you should not perform business activities with the enemy country. Of course, a rule is there that is called public policy rules. Okay, and corporate veiling is necessary. Lifting the corporate veil is necessary in this case because trading with the enemy country is against to public policy rules. And moving on to the second one, for protecting the revenue of the government. Here, where it appears that a company has formed or being used for the purpose of evading tax liabilities. Of course, company is also not free from tax burden. If it is trying to evade tax, or a bogus company or a fake company is formed for the purpose of evading tax. Okay, in reality company will not be there, but in books of accounts company is shown. So this is for the purpose of evading tax. In such a case also, company may lift corporate veil. So in such a situation, no difference is made between income of a company and its members for the purpose of tax liabilities. And so many case laws are there for these two above discussed points. Those we will be discussing later. And moving on to the next one, for preventing fraud. Here, the situation may arise for the court to lift the corporate veil when it feels that the company is performing some fraudulent operations and unlawful operations with the unlawful, and the company has unlawful object, and the company has a unlawful object of hiding the real owner of the business or conceal some important facts from shareholders, or if there is any fraud. When the court feels so, the corporate veil will be lifted, or the corporate personality will be cancelled. Here, if the top level management indulges in any of the fraudulent acts, of course, shareholders' interest is to be protected properly, and shareholders are the real owners of the business. Therefore, here to protect the interest of them, what happens, if something is going, if the court feels like something is going on in the top level management, it may come in between the company and shareholders and lift the corporate veil. Next one, company acting as agent or trustee of shareholders. Here in agent principal relationship or trustee beneficiary relationship, what happens, if the company acts as an agent, if there is agency principal and trustee beneficiary relationship existed between shareholders and the company itself is acting as an agent or a trustee of shareholders, whatever the obligations arise to the company, the shareholders will be held responsible. Okay? See here, if the shareholders become the agent or a trustee of a company, if something adverse happens to the company and because of the activities of company, shareholders will be directly held liable and not the company. Even if the company does some fraudulent acts, even if the company misleads public or shareholders, even if the company fraudulently or conceals some facts in financial statements. Okay, and next one, avoidance of welfare legislation. Sometimes what happens, here, let me give one example for this. A new company will be formulated as a fully owned subsidiary of one company. Assume that XYZ Limited has formed ABC Limited as a subsidiary. And ABC is a subsidiary is fully owned by XYZ Limited. ABC Limited will not have any assets except the dividend received against the shares given by parent company or holding company. XYZ Limited had given some shares to ABC Limited and only shares is the property of ABC Limited and nothing other than that. So in this case, why this happens? Because when shares are given to subsidiary company, dividends are available, right? So dividend is available for subsidiary and it's a fully owned subsidiary of a holding company. So dividend will be rested in the hands of holding company only. You know one thing, gross profit is distributed as a dividend among the shareholders, right? So when the company owns a subsidiary, a portion of dividend will go to that subsidiary company. Therefore, the gross profit amount reduces by the amount paid, by the amount given as dividend to subsidiary. Therefore, here gross profit will be reduced. So, more amount will be remained in the hands of holding company. Same happened in a case. An American company produced a film called Monsoon India. See, let's discuss the case later, okay? And before that, let me give one fine example for this. Here, a new company may be created, fully owned subsidiary of a principal company with no assets of its own except receiving dividend from shares. Shares are transferred by the principal company or holding company. Thus, the Supreme Court of India came in between this and held that the new company was transferring dividend as a device to reduce the gross profit of the principal company and thereby reduce the bonus payable to workers as per the Payment of Bonus Act. So as not to pay bonus to workers, it was a device for the company, for the principal company to distribute as dividend to subsidiary. So it is against the welfare of people, against the welfare of the workers of the company. Therefore, avoidance of welfare legislation is also means welfare legislation laws are not executed properly, right? For the purpose of welfare of people only, bonus law is, of course, bonus will be given. So negotiation is overstepped here. Therefore, here avoidance of welfare legislation also, corporate veil will be lifted. And next one, where the company is a sham or pretending like a company. Okay. If a company is pretending like a company and in originality it is not at all a company, and discharging all the duties of what a company has to do. It is performing activities as if it is a real company. Then the Supreme Court may come to lift the corporate veil, and the fakeness of that company will be revealed to general public. So here, if a company is pretending, when it suspects that, when the Supreme Court, when the judiciary suspects that a corporate unit is pretending as if it is the original company, it may lift up the corporate veil. And here, next one is where the doctrine of separate legal entity conflicts with the public policy. As I said earlier, public policy rules are there. Public policy, a set of rules are there under public policy, and a set of rules are also there under separate legal entity. Separate legal entity says that company will be different from its members, whereas public policy says that for the betterment of public policy, for protecting interest of shareholders is the main theme of public policy rules. Sometimes the conflicts may arise between the separate legal entity concept and public policy rules. So in this case also, how we have to move in public, or how we have to protect the interest of a public, general public, this is called public policy. So being separate, if the company maintaining separate legal entity, if it conducts a business in its own will and wish, hiding some matters from public and which is against to public policy, therefore here corporate veil will be lifted if conflict arises between doctrine of separate legal entity and public policy. And formation of subsidiaries to act as an agent. Next one, formation of subsidiaries to act as an agent. Here, if agent does anything, principal will not be held liable. This is the rule. Let me give one example for this. XYZ Limited is a company, owns ABC Limited as an agent. Here, agent ABC Limited enters into lots and lots of contracts, and for the purpose of making fraudulent acts only, ABC Limited is established by XYZ Limited. So as not to be blamed by general public, XYZ Limited, along with the performing business in a lawful way of XYZ Limited, it is performing fraudulent acts, means it is cheating shareholders by way of ABC Limited too. XYZ ಲಿಮಿಟೆಡ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳುವಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಮೇನ್ ಕಂಪನಿ ABC ಲಿಮಿಟೆಡ್ ಹೇಳುವಂತಹ ಏಜೆಂಟ್ ಕಂಪನಿಯನ್ನು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ, ಅದು ಜನರನ್ನು ಚೀಟ್ ಮಾಡೋ ಪರವಾಗಿಯೇ ABC ಕಂಪನಿಯನ್ನು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತದೆ, ಮತ್ತು XYZ ಲಿಮಿಟೆಡ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾದಂತಹ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ಸನ್ನು ಮೇಂಟೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ. ಯಾಕೆಂತಂದರೆ ಸೊ ಆ್ಯಸ್ ಟು ಗೆಟ್ ದ ಅಟೆನ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಪೀಪಲ್, ಜನರ ನಂಬಿಕೆಯನ್ನು, ಜನರ ಒಂದು ಕಾನ್ಫಿಡೆನ್ಸನ್ನು, ಟು ವಿನ್ ದ ಕಾನ್ಫಿಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಜನರಲ್ ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್. XYZ ಲಿಮಿಟೆಡ್ ಪರ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಸ್ business in a lawful way, whereas to mint money, ABC Limited, by cheating shareholders, by cheating customers, ABC Limited is established in an illegal way. Okay, sorry, not in an illegal way, maybe in a legal way. Okay, here one interesting thing is, if application is not given for the establishment of ABC Limited, for all the acts done by ABC Limited XYZ Limited will be held liable. If the agent company does any adverse activities, adverse acts, or if the agent company does any loss, if compensation is payable, then holding company, main company will be, principal company will be held liable. If application is taken in the name of subsidiary company, only subsidiary company will be held liable, due to which lots and lots of companies took their own agent companies for the purpose of minting money by cheating general public. Thereafter, it was held that the parent and subsidiary company were one commercial unit. What happened, nowadays it is treated as one, means principal, regardless of the company which may establish an agent company, all the agent companies of principal company will be treated as one commercial unit, and no special permission is available for agent companies. In the sense, if agent companies come with an application to start up their business as agents separately, apart from the principal company, license is not available. Next one, where company is used for some illegal or improper purpose. If the company uses its business for illegal uses, illegal purpose, if the company established for the purpose of cheating general public and for minting money, for fraudulent acts, and the judiciary system prevailing pursues that there is a problem with the company and conducting fraudulent acts and illegal activities, the corporate personality may be cancelled. And next one is for determining technical competence of the company. Here, the parties who establish a company called promoters. The technical ability means technical competence of promoters is reflected in the technical competency of the company. How competent a company is purely depending on how competent the promoters are. If promoters are so competent and if promoters are so efficient, the company also performs well. Otherwise, the technical matters of the company will not go smoothly. Means the company cannot perform activities efficiently. Technical competence will not be there. So as to identify this, for determining technical competency of the company, so as to see how efficient the company is and how far the company is good in serving its purposes, in its objectives. Also, the judiciary system may lift up the corporate veil or cancel the personality of the company. And this is one of the streams out of two in which the corporate personality may be cancelled by the judiciary system. That is called judicial discretion. There are two angles. One is judicial discretion. In that, one is judicial discretion. I hope it is clear for everyone. Thank you.